Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Synergy Sports Outreach Live, where we go and we catch up with past and present campers. And it's been an incredible time just catching up with people, checking in to see how they're doing over this time, and talking camp, talking family, talking genealogy, which we talk things. And so it gives me great pleasure tonight to introduce to you a very good friend of mine. A man whom I worked alongside with for 18 months up in the Logan area at Woodridge State High School. He's actually the one of the youth workers there, or the chaplain, and he's been there for a while. But I'll let him tell you about his journey there. But please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, somebody make some noise for the one, the only, Tala Aufai. Welcome, sir. Oh, man, it's good to see you, Tala.
Thank you for that introduction, bro. Thank you, Wilson.
Hey, had I had longer, I would have gone on and on and on, brother. You know. I can remember, Uzo. I can remember the first time I saw you. It was, in fact, you were walking across the basketball courts, and I think someone called out, Mr. Marsh, but they were actually calling you. They got us mixed up, man. And I think to myself, you are a spitting image of myself, man. It's like, wow. But hey, welcome. Also, I just want to just acknowledge you and your family, even your parents, man, because without them, you wouldn't be here tonight. So I acknowledge all of your family, and I thank you for giving your time tonight, because I know one of the most important commodities that anyone has is time. And so thank you so much for joining us, and welcome.
Thank you, Marsh. Thank you. Pleasure.
Hey, what I want you to do, Tala, is I want you to tell us where it all began for you. So you're where you're brought up, right up until where you are now, if that's okay, in introducing yourself.
Okay, so my name's Finlay Tala Aufai. Born in Wellington, New Zealand. Grew up there in the Wesleyan Methodist Church. Went to Miramar South School for my primary years, and then went to Evans Bay Intermediate, 85 and 84. My gosh.
Wow.
Went to Rongotai Boys College in Wellington, Kilburn.
Oh.
So I did all my secondary schooling there. Yeah. So, and when I was my final year, 1990, my parents made a decision to move from Wellington to Brisbane. So my father got a payout from his job and moved over from Wellington to Brisbane. They come over first, and I stayed back. I applied for a scholarship to get into uni. It was at that time they were encouraging Pacific Islanders to apply for scholarships, and so I applied for one and got one. So I spent 3 years in Wellington. Didn't come out the way I planned. I didn't pass, didn't get my degree. During that time, my parents were here in Brisbane, and I remember clearly in December coming home for a holiday, and clearly remember my dad sitting me down. I was on the floor, cross-legged. Dad was sitting on a chair, and he asked me to tell him the truth. And he said, "Have you finished? When are you going to finish?" And I just told him the truth at that time. I said, "Dad, I've been failing." And then I only come over for a holiday, and then he just said, "Okay, son, you're going to stay." And that was it. I could see the pain and the disappointment in his eyes. That was worse than any hiding. It was just see that my father was broken. My mum, but that was a chapter. So I stayed in Brisbane, 1993, I think it is. So from there I stayed. So got a job in a factory. Just went about doing that. Wanted to join the army. Dad said no, so fair enough. And then just warehousing, and then office. And got a few other jobs, and then got married. Met, got married. Had my 3 kids, and I got a job at Woolwich High. I did other jobs as well, but currently the
Is that one of your kids there? Is that one of your kids giving you a shout out, Tala? Can you see that?
Yes, my eldest daughter, Ezra. Hi, daughter. Hi, Ezra. And my
what about
other daughter, Lisa. They're in the next room, but thank you, daughters. Thank you.
So it's your 2 daughters, you and myself. We're all on the show together. So praise God, man. Praise God. Sorry, carry on.
No. That's it in a nutshell. Really, I'm just picking up on the bullet points. Really, so we have 3 children: Ezra, Lisa, and Wesley. And my wife. Love them very much. Support me so much.
Beautiful. I want to ask you about my wife is Samoan, and I know how proud our Samoan parents are in regards to whatever our kids put their hands to. And when you started speaking about Dad being disappointed about you not going through with your degree, there's going to be so many other young people out there, Tala, who went through the same thing you did. What sort of advice can you give them if they're going through the same thing? Besides running.
No, I guess that story in itself is a humbling aspect of my life, in terms of in the schools that I work at. I often get asked to speak to young people, and I often use the stories about elite athletes who have the opportunity to go into NRL, opportunity go to Super Rugby, and how they have that opportunity to have a future for themselves. And then what happens along that journey of faith, on their journey, is that they get distracted. Things come into their lives like alcohol or the night clubbing scenes and the whatnot, and they for lack of better words would lose that opportunity and have those regrets. And I'd often use those as stories to illustrate to young people about the importance. And then it felt like God was reminding me years later about my own story, that I had an opportunity, but I got distracted myself. And so that was humbling for me, that not to be speaking to other people and illustrating their story, but to remember also the story that I have. But the encouragement that I will give is that it's never too late. It's never too late to pursue. I love those words that speaks about don't be afraid of failure, but be terrified of regret. So don't be afraid of failure, but be terrified of regret. And so for me and myself as a person, I'm looking at going back to uni to finish off that degree that for so long that I've put off. And my family knows my desire. Something that as I start to get in my senior years, one of those things I like to tick off for me personally, but also as a future opportunities for me as well. But those are some of the words of encouragement I would give, Wilson. Just
it's beautiful.
Never too late. Yeah, never too late.
Yeah. Man, I've missed you, Tala, honestly, and to have these conversations that we're having now, it reminds me of my time with you in Woodridge, and I often get goosebumps talking with you and sharing our faith whether we're coaching together or in the sports shed, getting gear from Josh's sports shed.
Yeah. These stuff from you.
I miss these times, man. And so to be able to do this on live television, hello world,
Yeah.
and just to be real about things also,
Yeah.
and so that story that you shared there, and that's why I wanted to get more from you in regards to young people out there, because that's my story. That when I left school, I left wanting to get work and just to get away from education, because I was afraid. I was afraid, Tala. I was afraid of failure. I was afraid of the educational system that was put in place. It was a one size fits all situation, but I didn't learn the ways that some teachers taught me, and it wasn't until I was 30. I went back to university in New Zealand. In fact, my wife and I, my wife Susie, went back first. She said, "Honey, I'm throwing in my job. I'm going back to university." I'm like,
Yeah.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Because we had bills to pay, we had all this sort of stuff to look after. But in faith, she said, "No, I'm going to do this, and I believe I can do this." And then a year after, I chucked in my job, went back and did my degree. So your storyteller, what you're talking about, I believe that you'll go back and complete that and inspire others to do the same. Others that are, because, and the average age when I went back to uni was 40, 45. It was incredible. I know, it was incredible. And all around, a lot of the Polynesian Māori realizing that they had more to offer.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing that story, brother. So tell me this then. After your work and everything that you'd been doing, how did you get into ministry? What led you into chaplaincy? Talk to me about that.
Yeah. Okay. So we had a calling kind of upon our lives. At the time, I was serving at my dad's church. My dad's the minister. He's retired now. My wife and I, Josephine, whom I love so much, we got married. We continued to serve at my father's church, Samoan Wesleyan Methodist Church. And so we were there, and a number of people over the years spoke to me about getting into ministry as a minister. I was really reluctant. However, I saw the way my father was being treated, and I said, "That's not for me. That's not for me." And so a number of years went by. We continued to serve there, and through my disobedience, my wife Josephine had this illness. She went to hospital, and through that stage in our lives, God called her into ministry, and through that's how my calling come about as well. Just putting it really, just the finer points there. So we got into ministry. We sold our house, moved to Woodridge, an area my wife vowed never to go back to. She's a former student of Woodridge High and never wanted to be, nor do I. Never wanted to be in the area, never wanted to get anywhere close to there. But God had other plans for us. And I, now looking back, I see that for a long time, I really struggled with that time in Wellington, having to share that story. But now I look at it, if that hadn't taken place, I wouldn't have come to Brisbane. I wouldn't met my wife. I wouldn't have my 3 beautiful children, and wouldn't be serving God in this capacity. So we sell up our house. We we go to a unit in Woodridge, and we knock on the door of Woodridge High, and we say we're here to serve. And the principal at the time, Mr. Ken Kennedy, whoa, that's 17 years ago.
Wow.
We just start off volunteering in the school, doing lunchtime stuff, then running a drop-in center on Friday nights, planting a church in Woodridge High, starting off with just 5 people, and just being a service there. And the school needed a chaplain, so Josephine is my wife, the first chaplain of that school. Served
Wow.
that school for so long, and then years passed by. Then we had a number of chaplains take over, and then I'm the chappie there. I've been there 8.5 years as a chaplain as well now. So that's how I got into chaplaincy, just being available and seeing what the needs of the school are and making ourselves available to the leading of God's Holy Spirit about where we can of service be. That's it in a nutshell.
Wow. So, but previously, so when Josephine was serving
Yeah.
at Woodridge as a chaplain, what were you doing, Tala?
So yeah, I was working as a youth worker.
Yep.
I got a job. So I had several jobs leading up to that point. So while she was at Woodridge High, I was a youth worker, working with kids in care. I was a residential worker as well.
Yes. Yep.
Just that was for me. It was tough. Um, some of these kids, stuff happened to them that should never happen, and my heart breaks for those kids. Um, so I did that for a number of years as well. As Joe was a chaplain and just served there. Yeah, yep,
Okay, it's awesome. So, what is now Afa, who
yep.
is the attendance officer at Woodridge State High School? What's his relationship to you? What's a friend, family, or
Alpha's much loved man of Woodridge High. He's a gentle giant, but he
yeah?
can, when he has to, the ferociousness comes out of him.
I've seen
Uh,
that
he-
also.
yeah,
I've seen.
and sometimes it's needed. Sometimes it's
Mm.
needed. But he's my brother-in-law, so I think
Ah,
he's
okay,
probably,
yes.
yeah. So when Joe had a number of roles at the school, and she, I think through Josephine, Alpha come on board. So he's been there 10 years, more than 10 years. So he's my brother. He's married to my sister,
Oh,
married to
okay,
my sister Marina. Yeah.
okay, awesome. Now, speaking of your siblings, how many do you have?
Yep. So I'm one of six. Six, yep. So I'm the eldest, and it's my sister Teresa. She's married to a Chilean guy by the name of Christian, 5 kids. Beautiful man. Got to hand it to him. He loves my sister a lot. Loves my sister a lot. And then my brother William, he's got 4 kids, lives on the Gold Coast. And my brother Hansel, it was his birthday yesterday.
I saw
5
that.
kids. Yeah, I love them to death. I love all my siblings. And then, my sister Marina, it's her, then Hansel, Marina and Afa. They don't have any kids yet, but they've got 3 at home, 3 adult boys who they've taken in under their wing, young men. They're their kids. And my brother Charlie, yeah, and he's got one kid.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Now, mum and dad, where are mum and dad, Tala?
Yeah.
Are they?
So yep. So mum and dad they've lived in Darra for a long time now.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So mom's going to be with the Lord. Passed
Mm,
away March 13th, and we
mm,
buried her March 20th.
mm.
And it was her birthday, March 27th. So that was yeah. So mum had been sick for a long time. She was in
Yeah.
palliative care from November, but she'd been non-verbal for maybe, I don't know, maybe 3 years.
Wow.
She was slowly declining, and yeah, it's tough to see someone that you love so much, so strong. She was the foundation of our family. Um, she was a disciplinarian.
Hmm.
Her voice was felt in our lives, and it was good that she passed away. She was just wasting away.
Yeah.
We all took turns to look after Mum, hands on, and so happy with my family, my kids. We all pitched in to help. So yeah, yes. Yesterday I've just been looking through some websites, just trying to get a quote for her gravestone for next year,
Yep.
her
Yep.
unveiling.
Yep.
So mum, dad's, I can't imagine what my dad's going through.
Yeah.
Someone you spend your whole life with, who now he's by himself. But dad's in retirement. He lives in Darra. My brother Hanselite and my niece, they stay with him, and we siblings. We take it in turn to care for our father. This weekend to go stay with him. But yeah, that's where my parents are. They love the Lord. From a young age, they raised us in the church. They took us to church, even though I didn't want to go to church. The normal story that you'll hear from
Yep.
most Islanders. But their faith was unshakable and unmovable. But yeah. So mum, dad now lives in Darra, the family house there. It's been there maybe 30. I can't even remember 30 years. Family house there. But yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for sharing there, bro, and condolences. You know, Mum, I remember when Mum was going through that, and you couldn't come to camp because she was going through all of that and that sort of stuff. But you'll miss that camp. Everyone misses Tala. And for those of you who don't know, Tala actually got the MVP one year. If you can remember that, Tala, there was this guy who looked, like I said, looked exactly like me, more athletic, obviously, because he took out the MVP that year. Basketball, volleyball, soccer, you name it, this guy does it, and you'll see it on the basketball courts at Woodridge State High School, on the oval at Woodridge State High School, and just his energy just lifts a room. And I saw you doing something one day in the hall, and I thought, man, I was listening to you. I didn't know who it was. And I thought, man, I do those exercises when I go to camps, and I looked and it was you, and I was like, man, you inspire me, Uzo, with what you do with the young people. And that was a takeaway for me when I left Woodridge, was watching you at work. And I've always been inspired by you and always will be, and sorely miss that camp. So we can't wait till you come back. Just come back and be our resident chaplain, man, at camp. Surely come back for a feed and just hang with people. Bro, we're going to go to some photos, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to bring some photos up. Let's see what we have here. Can you talk us through that first photo that you see through there? That looks, Uzo, you look about 18 there.
It's when I had black hair. Still grey now. So that's our wedding day, and that's Josephine. In the happiest moments of my life. So when I come over from Brisbane, from Wellington to Brisbane, I was single. I can't even remember how old I was, and I made a decision that I didn't want to date anyone. I was 22, 23, something like that. My parents really instilled in the environment that I was in really strong values about what a man ought to be. And I didn't like the scene when I was at sport, is the way how treating women. And so when I was 22, 23, I made a decision, and this may sound a little bit well, this is why I did it. I wrote down the qualities that I wanted in a woman. I wrote down the qualities that I wanted in a woman. Christian, for me, it was Samoan, and I wrote those attributes as well that I wanted to have as a wife. And then I went looking. That's the absolute truth. I went
Wow.
looking for someone that had those attributes, and I had a list. Wrote down the names, and Josephine's name was at the top of that list. And then after maybe 6 months, finally summoned up the courage to ask her out. We had met um, through our desire for young people. There was a group called Fobs Unlimited, and what it was just young adults who come together to organise games, sports for other young people to come to in a safer environment where they can enjoy each other's company, and to organise camps. And there was a man that really spoke, Carl Toma. A shout out to Carl Toma. So that's how we met. And as we come to meetings, and I'll see her, and then I'll see her at church functions. And 6 months later, I finally had the courage to give her a call to meet up with her, and we met when she got back from Hawaii. And then I asked her out, and I can still remember those words. We met at Woodridge McDonald's. At the time, I was working at Sherwood, so I caught two trains and then ran to McDonald's Woodridge, sat down, and I asked her out, and she said she'll give it a go. She said she'll give it a go, and then
Oh,
2 years we dated, then we got engaged for 2 years, and then we married. In 1998, we married. 98. That's that picture there, and 2000 was our first child, Ezra. So that's our wedding. Yep.
beautiful. What a beautiful story, bro. And once again, I think I shared with you before the program, you're going to be able to share things with us that young people need to hear. And what you talked about in regards to who you were looking for and what sort of person you're looking for. I think we can take a leaf out of your book, man, young people today, and go ahead and do that and pray. This is what my wife's going to be. So that's a beautiful story. So romantic, Uzo. Tell us so here's the family, obviously.
Yep. So that's me. So that's a John Paul College awards night. They call it speech night. It's pretty formal. So I'm wearing a gown there. I think this is last year. So that's my daughter Ezra there. She's receiving an award, Christian student. Words to that effect. Yep,
Yeah,
that's her. Yep.
yeah.
So she received that award, and we're there for that prize giving. That's my wife there, Josephine, and then my son Wesley, and Ezra. It's crouching down. She had already graduated. So yeah, so that's last year at our speech night.
Wow. Look how tall. Where's his man?
Yeah, my man. I in the back of my mind is I'm always encouraging my children um, as to how they're to treat others. Like I it's really profound in me about when I was a young man growing up. I went to an all boys school, and it was really profound in me growing up as to how I believed that we were to treat women. We were to treat them with respect. We're to and this is my old fashioned values coming through. We're to protect them, and
Mm,
um, and I always think about how I would like for some a boy to treat my sister.
mm,
Uh, and that was always at the back of my mind that these daughters are someone's, that they belong to someone's father. And so I never got caught up in the whole what the young men get caught up into now in schools,
yeah.
how they go through and brag about their conquest. That was never me. That's
Mm,
never me. And so that's how I modeled my life, and that's the values I've hoped to instill in my children. but not only that, to other young men and to other young women, about saving themselves for the right person, about saving themselves for the moment where they come, they stand before God as a witness of their love for each other, and God blessing their marriage. Just heart breaks about the school that I work in, about single parents, families, and anyway, yeah. So that's my family there. Love them to bits. Love them to bits. So that's me at Woodachai on the basketball courts. Absolutely love Woodachai. There are two differences in the school. Both love them both, but each has its own flavor, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
When I'm at Woodachai, there's this joy at Woodachai. There's that hyena laugh from the boys and the girls. This carefree dancing on the courts. There's this joy that just saturates the whole environment. Whether they're black or brown or white or yellow, just that really it's just a different level. So when we have our awards night at Woodridge, it's really loud and vocal and colorful, and it's just a fantastic environment. We have Friday in the past. I've done dance battles on a Friday in the auditorium, and it's about 200 kids all jam packed in there, and you got your music pumping, and you got all these kids just dancing, inappropriate dancing, but and everyone goes wild, and it's just a huge joy, just absolutely joy when we do the athletics day. You were there, Marsh Wilson.
Yeah.
You were there. Yeah, it's just so colorful,
Yeah.
and drums banging, and it's just absolutely fantastic. Just really joyous. Whereas JPC is much more reserved. I get it. Yep, that's it there. Much more reserved. That's me, and with Wesley, I think he's year 5 there, 6.
Yeah.
My gosh, he's rugby. So I looked after the rugby program in back then. But yeah,
Yep.
so yeah, really, as you expect from our private school, very formal, very reserved. We have our athletics day. There's colour. That's the polo shirt that they wear. There's no house paint. There's no, but still, they have their own uniqueness.
Yes.
And I love about John Paul College is that I can speak freely about my faith, and I do. Whereas in a state school, they make clear guidelines of to what I can do and I can't do. So I live my faith at Woodridge High, but I'm able to speak my faith at John Paul College. So I go for gold. So whatever the team that I coach, whether it's touch, volleyball, or rugby, get all the team to get down on the knee. We say the Lord's Prayer together. Then I'll bless them all. Then go over to the field and this other school, get them boys together and get them on the paddock, get down on the knee. And we'll just pray every opportunity I can. I'll pray for them. I'll speak openly about Jesus, what he's done for me. Whereas Woodridge High, I can allude and just through how I conduct myself, my witness for God. So yeah,
It's beautiful.
that's
It's beautiful. So I didn't realize you're a New South Wales supporter. Like, you came from Wellington, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Moved to Brisbane, and you're a Blues supporter. Can you shed some light on this, please?
Yeah, absolutely. And the only reason is to rock people up. That's truth be told. So I'm a Queensland supporter at heart, but a mate and I, Troy Wilson, love him to death. We for 10 years, part of SU Queensland and ministry, we ran a footy camp where we'd take about 60 boys away on camp. And rugby league is the vehicle, is the means, and we just hope to rub shoulders with these young men, and then have a spiritual input and just speak about Jesus and God. And roughly around about that time is State of Origin. Go the Blues. It's my sister-in-law, Rosalie, my brother's partner. Hi, Rose. So roughly, we'll be at camp at Tala for we were there. Tala we'll be watching State of Origin. I noticed just about everyone was Queensland supporters. There's only a very small number of New South Wales supporters. So that's when I made the switch, just to be part of the minority. And it's just continued ever since.
I love that, man. That's what I love about you, Tala. You're not a follower, man. Don't follow the crowd, eh?
That's right, I'm a stirrer. Oh, I sent message from my sister-in-law, Maunga. Hi, Maunga. Thank you for following. Josephine's sister, her son's doing so well in rugby, getting ready Waratah squad, and he's got his plans for Japan. So proud of him. He watching him as a young boy growing up, and he was at Woodridge for a little while, and then went over to Brisbane State High.
Yep.
But great man.
So he's in the Waratah squad now, Tala, the senior side.
Yeah. So he was in the Queensland squad, I think, a few years back, and I was a great supporter, and then made the switch to the Waratahs, and I've become a Waratah supporter. So, God willing, in the near future, he'll be a Wallaby. And guess what? I'll be a Wallabies supporter. Oh, that's my brother, William. Hey, William, go Queensland. Yeah, that's right. Brother against brother. Yeah. So, yeah.
I love that, man. I love that. Few people coming through now, bro.
It's my family. Yeah.
Yeah. This is I don't know whether you remember Paulie from camp, Uzo.
Yes. Yeah. I do. Yeah. Oh, that guy. Is that him? Yeah, I do. Yeah, such a nice guy. He come up to me. I think one of the camps, and he gave me his tag shorts or something like that.
Yeah.
And in reply, I just gave him my Woodridge State High School cap.
Yeah.
Nice guy. Played against Toucham. Yeah, really nice guy.
Yeah, Paulie. He's been to every camp.
Wow.
Every single camp. Yeah. So he flew back last year. He's purchased a ticket for camp for this year, but stuck in New Zealand. So I'm not too sure whether he'll be able to get back this year.
Oh,
we'll see.
Bless you, brother. Hope you get back, though. Hope you get back.
Yeah, we'll see. And then this guy here, Tala. You may not know Tia, but Tia and I work together over in New Zealand in sports camps. We rack the crowds up. We got our teams up and going. And so this guy's next level. He's down in Melbourne. So we're wishing you all the very best down there also. Tia and family and Taua and the kids. Wish you all the very best. And there's actually a Melbourne team coming up this year, Tala.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're praying that the borders open up in November. We're just going to wait and see to see what happens there. There was a New Zealand team coming over, but we've decided to wait until next year, just so that there's clarity around international travel as well. So yes, thanks for everyone for joining in and tuning in tonight. It's been some great discussions around life and by the one and only Tala Aufai.
Thank you.
I need to pronounce that properly, Uzo.
That's fine. Thank you, brother.
Hey, we are going to move on and wrap up now. And I just want to ask you about your experiences at camp. I know that you've been a couple of times, and but what were your takeaways from camp when you came?
Yeah, so when we met, you were teaching at Woodridge High School, and I could see the passion and the desire about sports camp. And when we went to camp, we took a team, Woodridge.
Yeah,
some young students.
You guys won it that year.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
But what I saw was I love the environment. I love the team. I love the family-oriented environment. We had, even though we had young people, but we had people of all ages. We there was also young kids there that were just there watching on the sides. I loved how you did the boost sessions. I loved how you engage everyone. And even now, when I watch some of those videos about the singing upstairs in the cafeteria, waiting for the food,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
absolutely loved it. Everyone getting involved. You know what really broke my heart was we're inside the booth session, and you caught up one of the NRL players. Is it James?
Yeah.
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 So
James Gabbard.
yeah, so you were leading it, and you were getting people at will coming up and just dancing and leading us through the songs, Christian songs and action songs, and you caught up James, and James, like, I knew of him, I was never in his presence, but he was a beast of a man, huge,
Mm,
solid, muscular, the
mm,
very definition of what you want to call a man's man. And you
mm,
called him up, and for sure I thought, yeah, whatever. But
mm.
bro, he just went up in
Yeah.
front of all of these people, uh, my crew who were new to the camp, and
Mm,
he just obeyed what you asked him to do and started doing the actions. And that just really spoke to me. That was fantastic. I mean, I've got a sporting background, so I enjoy those competitive sports. I enjoy the friendly rivalry. But the environment that you provided, Wilson, you and Susie, was just absolutely fantastic. But not only that, when you spoke about your journey with God, and you shared your story about your children and your struggles, you shared about how your church is partnering with you to make this possible, and your pastor come in, and it's not about your local church either. It's about the kingdom. It's about about providing an environment, that the safe environment where people can come, where they would not normally come into a come into a church building. I um I remember one time remembered going to a friend. The, one of our people at church invited me. Just started coming. She just started coming to church. She
mm,
invited me to her friend's birthday party, and it's for lack of better, a worldly birthday party. So I go there and I know no one,
mm,
absolutely no one, except for the person that invited me. And it's really uncomfortable. And it's alcohol all over the place. For me, it's uncomfortable. There's smoke everywhere. There's the kind of people, the way they dress, which is really uncomfortable. Well, out of my comfort zone.
mm,
And I go into this place, and then it's like it felt like the spirit was challenging me and speaking to me, like, and just revealing to me that perhaps that this is probably someone who's never been in a church, would
mm,
feel like if they come into a church that they
mm,
don't know anyone, they're not a comfortable setting for them, that's not an environment that they're accustomed to. So when I come to sports camp, it was a fantastic environment. It was inviting, it was friendly, everyone was real. When we got onto the field, yeah, absolutely. And I'm one of those as well. When you clash, I'm an old man, but I think I'm still 16, and so I'm going to give the referees a little bit of lip. And but then we have our brothers around us who not chastise us, but just remind
mm.
us. And
Yeah.
so I humbled myself, went up to the referee afterwards. Sorry, bro, but,
Mm,
but that's part and parcel. But I loved it. I loved the music, the environment, the venue, the food. I cannot speak. Even there was one time it was raining. The last day was raining, and even then, it was beautiful. I love how
mm,
we do the swimming. We do the swimming. bro, you kept it real. I've been so kind of filled by the school system. So we you had your ute, you had your trailer, and you just let all the kids jump into your ute. You let all the kids jump into the trailer, and we just drove it away. And my mind going, my school mind thinking, what the heck? But the kids, this reminded me of Samoa. And the kids were just, sometimes we bubble wrap them in anyway, but absolutely cannot speak highly. And I strongly recommend it to the families to go along, and there's no pressure at all. And I love how you got your staff members, your colleagues that go along as well, Wilson. Absolutely love it. So yeah, cannot speak highly enough of sports camp. I know you guys put a lot of time and effort into it behind the scenes, and I know it's a financial and feast and walk away, whereas you guys are pack up. So I just want to say that the Lord bless you too.
Thank you, Tala.
That
Thank you so much.
continues to grow, and the people see the benefits and the value of what you guys are doing, brother. Thank you, man.
Man, I a couple of times during this interview, Tala, I wanted to tear up and just break down because of the kindred spirit that you have and just the connection that we have relationally. And I think about what Susie and I do at sports camp, and everything is based on relationship, Tala.
Yeah. Yes, right. True.
All the teams that come to camp now, we've got relationships with.
Yeah.
So they're outside our four walls in church.
Yeah.
We've gone outside those four walls, and we've wanted to reach out to community. And so we've got relationship in schools, we've got relationships in the universities, we've got relationships in the local rugby clubs. The Tumau team are run by Vaivasa and Mike.
Yeah, Tumau.
Incredible. These guys have got an incredible following.
Yeah.
These two aren't in church. They're not in church, Tala. I don't know. And they'll share. They're too shy to come on and do an interview with me, but they'll share their own relationship with God. But they have these people come every year. 2 teams, 3 teams, 4 teams. And then a friend of mine who's just come back to camp, Louis Levi, he's got a team of people, and this year they're bringing 6 teams also.
Wow!
I know, man, but it's a platform for all of us to be able to reach our community and say, "Hey, listen, there's a sports camp happening," and in fact, it's actually a holistic health model that's run at this camp. There's a spiritual, there's a mental, there's the relational, there's the physical, you name it, it's there. And so they're able to sell camp that way. And because of that, camp's full now. Jane Reekers. Who is Jane Reekers to you, Tala?
Oh, so that's my poor sister. So that is my wife's first cousin.
Yeah. Okay, Jane and Bisu are bringing a team this year.
Bisu. Oh, my heart. Bisu, if you're listening, you should do more motivational speaker. She's
she's amazing.
She's taking a team, Bisu. You didn't even tell me. I'll see you on Monday. But so Bisu, she works at Woodage High. Great, fantastic. Her and Falangi. And James, absolutely, Falele. I know her husband's actually doing some renovations here for our house right now.
Oh,
awesome couple, those two.
But
so there was one year I got the shock. We're on the field getting ready to play touch, and I see Veilama and Chris.
Yes.
Out there, and I thought, what the heck? And so it's great to see them in a team and getting involved.
That's awesome. Man, I'm not too sure who put this up. You are the man, Tala. Awesome role model for the next generation. That must have been the CEO from Synergy Sports Outreach, also Susie Marsh, the CEO.
Praise God.
Also, I just want to say thank you, and so many nuggets and gems and words of wisdom that have come out from you tonight. And I really want to say again, thank you so much for taking time.
Okay.
Like I said, for many of us, time is so precious, with our family and all that's happening around. I just want to say thank you on behalf of Synergy Sports Outreach. Thank you for investing into the kingdom when you've been along, and I know that you've been praying for camps as well. We're at full capacity now because of people like you who have prayed into it, and we look forward. And I spoke to you earlier before the show about getting in 2 camps next year because we're not going to have enough room. So all those listeners that are tuned in tonight. Oh, here we go. Who's this young lady here?
It's my wife. Real talk right there. Thank you for tonight. Oh, it's for you, brother. Thank you, Wilson.
Josephine, I can remember sitting down with you during breakfast at camp one time and just talking kingdom, and that's what has driven Susie and I, Tala, just to build kingdom, not to build our little church. We love our little church that we go to. We love that, and we we serve and so into that church, but we're kingdom builders, and by doing camp, that's what we feel that we're doing, extending the kingdom. So not just my friends and family inside my church, but community can hear about the gospel of Jesus Christ. And a platform where, is like you said, I love that analogy that you gave about going to a party and feeling uncomfortable, and we want to make people feel welcome coming into camp. Absolutely smash them with the love of God, smash them with the love of God, but making sure that we welcome there, because you know what, Uzo, God is bringing the 4 walls down.
Yeah.
And he's just opening up the gospel to everyone. And that's what I love about camp. And so I just want to thank you again. Also, final words from your behalf to people that are listening in tonight, Tala, and then I'll put you in the green room.
Yep. So there are many stories that speak to me. The story about the lost coin, the story about the lost son, the lost sheep, the story about Moses coming into the presence of God, the burning bush, and being told to take off his sandals because you're standing on holy ground. The story about the Great Commandment and the Great Commission. The stories about prodigal son, when the father who's been waiting for the return of his son and he runs. Those stories just break my heart. They just speak to me that God's unconditional love is just beyond my understanding and my comprehension. And I'm challenged daily to continue to worship our Father in heaven and to be of service to him. And I encourage our brothers and sisters who are Christian who love the Lord to use their gifts and talents to be able to continue to share the gospel. I'm really blessed by our friendship, Wilson. I'm really blessed by godly people who I've had the privilege and opportunity to rub shoulders with. Just wish to speak life into your ministry. Continue to pray for your ministry.
Thank you.
I'm grateful for the opportunity that I have to serve the church that I've been called to. And I'm hoping our church family would consider attending your ministry in the near future. But yeah, to God be the glory.
Amen.
We continue to serve. We continue to do our part. For we know and understand that God has done his part. He sent his son, Jesus, to die on the cross for our sins. In doing so, he allows us this opportunity to join with him in heaven. So my mom and my auntie, my uncles and aunties, and all my cousins who wait for the return of our Lord and Savior, I wait for his return. So thank you, brother. Bless you so much. Thank you.
Bless you. Thank you, Tala, and we'll see you shortly. That was Tala Aufai. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been amazing talking to you tonight, bro, and I'll see you shortly in the green room. Bless you, bro. Well, ladies and gentlemen, very dear friend of mine, and someone whom I've learnt from over the years. Only met him 4 years ago, sorry, when I was up working in Woodridge, and was blessed enough to be able to glean and learn from the things that he was doing up there and still is doing up there. Beautiful family. You saw his family tonight. And just the words of wisdom that come from him, those are the same words that, as he talks of young people, whether it be coaching, whether it be motivating them at school or encourage them at school, those are and I knew by getting them on tonight that people would be blessed. So be blessed. And I wish you all the very best until next Wednesday. Actually, we're going to change. We have a bit of a change up next Wednesday. We're talking with a mum and daughter. Not going to give away that information just yet, but we're going to talk to a mum and daughter about how they're doing and about what they're doing in regards to the lead up to sports camp. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing all the teams at camp this year. And for those of you who are interested for next year's camp, because we're full this year, message us. And if we get enough teams, we're going to go with 2 camps next year. So bless you. The Lord bless you and keep you. And may He shine His face upon you, your children, and your children's children. In Jesus' name, amen.